Hey, I'm Mia Costello, 33 years old, living in a sweet little duplex in Providence, Rhode Island. The kind with a front porch perfect for pumpkin carving in the fall, and a backyard just big enough for a swing set and summer barbecues. From the outside, my life looks like one of those cozy New England postcards. I'm a high school guidance counselor at Cranston High School West, helping teenagers navigate college apps, breakups, and all the drama that comes with being 16. My husband, Alex, is a physical therapist at a clinic downtown. Tall, dark haired, with the kindest hazel eyes, and a laugh that still makes my stomach flip after 10 years together. We have two incredible kids: Sophia, our 6-year-old fireball with wild curls and a passion for dance, and Mateo, 4, going on 40, who's already convinced he's going to be a paleontologist because dinosaurs are way cooler than people. We're that classic Italian-American family you see in the movies. Sunday dinners at my parents' house are non-negotiable. Mom's homemade ravioli, dad's famous braciole, red wine flowing, everyone talking over each other in a mix of English and Italian. My parents, Gino and Rosa Costello, are the heart of it all. Dad came over from Calabria as a kid, worked construction his whole life, and now owns a small company that builds custom homes around the state. Mom raised 3 of us, me and my 2 younger brothers, Nico and Luca, while keeping the house spotless and the pantry stocked with enough sauce to last through an apocalypse. They're good people, loving, generous to a fault. Dad would give you the shirt off his back, and Mom's always the first to show up with lasagna when someone's sick or has a new baby. They never yelled growing up, never raised a hand, no screaming fights or slammed doors like some of my friends' houses. Instead, there was this quiet pressure, this heavy, suffocating guilt that wrapped around every decision like ivy on an old brick wall. If I wanted to sleep over at a friend's house whose parents they didn't know well, Mom would sigh deeply and say, "After all we've sacrificed for you, Mia, we just want to keep you safe." If I brought home a B in math, Dad would look so disappointed, eyes downcast, slow shake of the head, and mutter, "We left everything behind in Italy so you kids could have a better life. Is this how you repay us?" Even little things, staying out late, choosing the wrong college major, dating someone they didn't approve of, no anger, just that look, that tone, the weight of letting them down. I learned early to be the good daughter, straight A's all through school. Played volleyball because it was ladylike and kept me out of trouble. Went to Providence College, close enough to come home for Sunday dinner every week. No wild spring breaks in Cancun, no moving to Boston or New York after graduation like some of my friends. I stayed local, got my master's in counseling online while working part-time, met Alex at a church picnic. He's Italian too, bonus points. Got married at 25 in the same church my parents did, bought a house 20 minutes from theirs. It's what they wanted, what everyone expected. And for years, I was happy, or told myself I was. Alex is amazing, the kind of husband who brings home flowers just because, and coaches Mateo's t-ball team even though he works long hours. The kids are my whole world. Sophia's dance recitals, Mateo's endless questions about why the sky is blue, helping teenagers at school find their path, watching them light up when they get into their dream college. It's fulfilling. It's safe. But lately I've been feeling like I'm disappearing. Turning 30 hit hard, then 33. Watching my friends post about big promotions, cross-country moves, starting businesses, traveling the world. And here I am, still the reliable Mia, the one who organizes the family Christmas Eve, who drops everything when mom needs help with dad's doctor appointments, who never says no because saying no means disappointing them, means that look, that sigh, that quiet reminder of sacrifices. A month ago, everything cracked open. I got a job offer, the kind you don't turn down lightly. Guidance director at Evergreen Academy, a prestigious private high school in Seattle. Double my salary, amazing benefits, a chance to lead a whole department, implement new programs, actually make a difference on a bigger scale. And Seattle, Rainy, beautiful Seattle with mountains and oceans and a whole new life far away from the invisible chains I've worn for 33 years. I was thrilled, terrified, excited in a way I hadn't been since college. I mentioned it casually on Sunday dinner, thinking maybe, just maybe, they'd be proud. Mom's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Dad set his wine glass down slowly. Seattle? Mom said, voice trembling. Across the entire country, Mia? How could you even consider taking my grandchildren so far away? What about us? We're not getting any older. Who will help when we need it? Dad just shook his head, that familiar disappointment settling over his face like a cloud. After everything we've done for you, Mia, all the sacrifices, this is how you repay us? By leaving? The table went quiet. My brothers exchanged glances. Alex squeezed my hand under the table, supportive but silent. The guilt crashed over me like a wave, heavy, familiar, suffocating. By the time we got home, I'd already decided. I turned down the job Monday morning. It's okay, I told Alex through tears. Family first, that's who we are. He held me, but I could tell he was disappointed too. I thought that was the end of it. Then the envelope arrived. Plain white, no return address, slipped in with the usual bills and junk mail. I opened it in the kitchen while the kids were napping and Alex was at work. Inside, a single photograph. Me at 19, standing outside a women's clinic in Boston, face streaked with tears, hand on my stomach. A day I'd buried so deep, I almost forgot it existed. On the back, typed in simple black font, some secrets destroy families, others set them free. My knees buckled. I sank to the floor, photo trembling in my hand, because nobody, no one alive knew about that day. Not Alex, not my parents, not even my best friend Lauren. I'd kept it locked away for 15 years. But someone knew, and they were just getting started. I stood in our kitchen, clutching that plain white envelope like it was on fire. The house was quiet, Alex at work, Sophia at kindergarten, Mateo napping upstairs with his favorite stuffed triceratops tucked under his arm. Afternoon sunlight streamed through the window over the sink, catching the dust motes in the air, making everything look deceptively peaceful. But my heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I'd grabbed the mail on my way in from dropping the kids off, flipping through bills and Christmas catalogs. Already in October, this envelope was different. No return address, no stamp even, just my name typed in plain font, M.I.A. Costello. I should have thrown it away unopened, but something made me tear it open right there at the counter. The photograph slid out first. Me, 19 years old, standing on a busy Boston sidewalk outside a gray building with a discreet sign, Women's Health Services. My face was pale, eyes red and swollen from crying, one hand pressed flat against my stomach like I was holding myself together. I was wearing that old brown coat from high school, hair in a messy ponytail, looking small and terrified, and utterly alone. I knew the exact day, the exact moment. On the back, typed in the same simple font, some secrets destroy families, others set them free. My knees buckled. I stood in our kitchen, clutching that plain white envelope like it was on fire. The house was quiet, Alex at work, Sophia at kindergarten, Mateo napping upstairs with his favorite stuffed triceratops tucked under his arm. Afternoon sunlight streamed through the window over the sink, catching the dust motes in the air, making everything look deceptively peaceful. But my heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I'd grabbed the mail on my way in from dropping the kids off, flipping through bills and Christmas catalogs. Already in October, this envelope was different. No return address, no stamp even, just my name typed in plain font, M.I.A. Costello. I should have thrown it away unopened, but something made me tear it open right there at the counter. The photograph slid out first. Me, 19 years old, standing on a busy Boston sidewalk outside a gray building with a discreet sign, Women's Health Services. My face was pale, eyes red and swollen from crying, one hand pressed flat against my stomach like I was holding myself together. I was wearing that old brown coat from high school, hair in a messy ponytail, looking small and terrified, and utterly alone. I knew the exact day, the exact moment. On the back, typed in the same simple font, "Some secrets destroy families, others set them free." My knees buckled. I grabbed the counter to stay upright, the photo trembling in my hand. How? How did anyone have this? There were no phones out, no selfies, no social media back then. I'd gone alone, paid cash, told no one. I stuffed the photo back in the envelope and shoved it into my purse, hands shaking so badly I could barely zip it closed. Then I checked the locks on the doors twice before sinking onto a kitchen chair, staring at nothing. That day 15 years ago had been the darkest of my life. I was a sophomore at Providence College, studying psychology, living in the dorms but coming home most weekends because mom missed her girl. I'd started dating Tyler secretly, art major, long hair, from Vermont. He wasn't Italian, wasn't Catholic, smoked weed on weekends, and listened to bands my parents would have called devil music. Everything they'd warned me about. We were careful, mostly, but one missed pill, one careless night, and suddenly 2 pink lines on a drugstore test in a dorm bathroom stall. I panicked, called Tyler crying. He was supportive but terrified, barely making rent on his campus job. "Whatever you want, Mia, I'm here." But I knew what my parents would say. Abortion? Unthinkable. Sin. Murder. They'd force marriage or make me keep it, turn my life into theirs at 19. I couldn't breathe just thinking about it. So I made the appointment, drove myself to Boston on a Tuesday when I was supposed to be in class, walked in alone, walked out alone, cried the whole drive back to Providence. Told no one. Broke up with Tyler a week later. It's too much pressure with my family. Buried it so deep, I almost convinced myself it never happened. Until now. I didn't sleep that night. Alex came home late from a patient appointment, found me on the couch in the dark. "Babe," he said softly, sitting beside me, "you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I forced a smile. Just a long day. Kids were wild. He pulled me into his arms, warm, safe, familiar. "Come to bed. You need rest." I went, but I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, envelope hidden in my nightstand drawer. The second envelope came exactly 1 week later. I found it in the mailbox after picking Mateo up from preschool. Same plain white, my name typed. I waited until I was alone again, kids down for naps, before opening it in the laundry room, door locked. This time, a printout of an old email, from me to Tyler, sent from my college account. Subject: "I can't do this anymore." The body: "My parents will never accept us. They already hate that I'm not dating a nice Italian boy. If they find out about you, about everything, they'll disown me. I'm sorry. I love you, but I can't keep lying. Please don't contact me again." On the bottom, typed, "How many more lies, Mia?" My stomach lurched. That email was 15 years ago. Deleted. Gone. How did they have this? I started jumping at every little thing. The mail truck, the doorbell, even Alex coming home early. Checked the locks obsessively. Started parking in different spots at the grocery store like someone might be following me. Alex noticed. Of course he did. "You're distracted," he said one night over dinner. Take out because I'd burned the chickens staring into space. "At Sophia's dance class you barely watched, and you've checked your phone like 20 times. "Just work stuff," I lied. "College application season starting early." He reached for my hand. "Talk to me, Mia. We're a team." Guilt twisted in my gut. I wanted to tell him. God, I wanted to. But how do you drop that bomb? "Hey, remember how I've always been the perfect daughter? Well, I had an abortion at 19 and lied about it our entire relationship." So I smiled, kissed him, changed the subject. The third envelope was the worst.
It came on a Friday, slipped under our front door while I was at the park with the kids. I found it when we got home, Mateo's shoes leaving muddy prints on it. Inside, a scanned copy of medical records, my name, date, procedure code for abortion, doctor's signature, with a single typed note, "Tell them or I will." I sank to the floor right there in the entryway, records clutched to my chest, tears streaming. Someone wasn't just reminding me of my past, they were threatening to destroy my present, my family, my marriage, everything I'd built on careful, perfect lies, and I had no idea who or why or how far they'd go.
The medical records stared up at me from the entryway floor, the black and white printout as cold and clinical as the day I'd signed them 15 years ago. Procedure: termination of pregnancy. Patient: Mia Costello. Date: October 14, 2009. My signature at the bottom, shaky, barely legible, and clipped to it that single typed note, "Tell them, or I will." I don't know how long I sat there, back against the front door, knees pulled to my chest. Mateo's muddy shoe prints smeared across the corner of the paper like a child's innocent artwork over something ugly and irreversible. The house was too quiet. No TV, no toys clattering, just the hum of the refrigerator and my own ragged breathing. I gathered the pages with trembling hands, folded them small, and hid them in the same secret spot in my nightstand as the previous envelopes. Then I cleaned the floor, scrubbing the harder than necessary, as if I could erase the evidence along with the footprints. Who was doing this, and why now? I'd always been so careful, paid cash at the clinic, used a fake name for the initial call, drove an hour to Boston instead of somewhere local. No one followed me. No one knew. But someone did. That night, Alex came home to find me in the kitchen making dinner on autopilot, chopping onions with mechanical precision, tears streaming that I could blame on the knife work. "Hey, beautiful," he said, wrapping his arms around me from behind, kissing my neck. "Rough day?" "You could say that," my voice cracked. He turned me around, concern creasing his forehead. "Mia, talk to me. You've been somewhere else for weeks. Is it work? The kids? Your parents?" I wanted to tell him. God, I wanted to spill it all, collapse into his arms and let him hold the weight I'd carried alone for so long. But the words stuck in my throat. How do you tell the man you love, the father of your children, that you'd ended a pregnancy before you even met him, that you'd lied by omission our entire relationship? "It's just stress," I managed. "Guidance season is starting early, lots of seniors panicking about applications." He searched my face, not entirely convinced. "Okay, but I'm here. You know that, right?" I nodded, forcing a smile. "I know. Love you. Love you more." We ate dinner as a family, Sophia chattering about her dance class, Mateo making dinosaur roars with his chicken nuggets. Normal. Perfect. I laughed in all the right places, helped with bath time, read bedtime stories, but inside I was screaming. The next day, I called in sick to work, first time in years, told Alex I had a migraine. Then I sat at my laptop and tried to trace the envelopes. No postmarks on any of them. Someone was delivering by hand, mailbox, under the door, local, someone who knew my routine. I made a list of possibilities. My brothers? Nico was protective to a fault. Maybe he'd found something and was trying to wake me up. Luca was the jokester, but this wasn't funny. My parents? No, they'd confront me directly with tears and prayers, not anonymous threats. A parent at school? I'd counseled hundreds of kids, some with heavy secrets. Maybe someone recognized me from the clinic waiting room all those years ago? Or Tyler? What if he'd kept photos, told someone? I hadn't spoken to him since college. A quick Facebook search showed he was married now, 2 kids, living in Portland, Oregon. Graphic designer, happy from the looks of it. I slammed the laptop shut. This was pointless. Sunday dinner at my parents' loomed like a storm cloud. I almost canceled, told Mom I had a stomach bug, but she'd insist on bringing soup and I couldn't face her yet. So we went.
The house smelled like garlic and simmering sauce the second we walked in. Mom's gravy had been on the stove since dawn. Dad greeted us at the door with hugs and kisses, Mateo on his shoulders. Nico and his wife Gina were already there with their 3 boys, Luca and his fiancée Valentina helping set the table. "Mia Bella," Mom called, wiping her hands on her apron and pulling me into a flour-dusted hug. "You look tired, Kata. Everything okay?" The guilt hit fresh. "Just a long week, Ma." She studied my face, those sharp mother eyes that always saw too much. "You eat, you need strength." Dinner was loud and chaotic, plates piled high with rigatoni, meatballs, sausage, salad, everyone talking over each other, Nico's oldest starting travel soccer, Luca's wedding plans, Dad complaining about the Patriots. I picked at my food, forcing smiles, nodding in the right places. Mom noticed. Of course she did. "Mia," she said quietly when the men were arguing about fantasy football and the kids had run off to play. "What's wrong? You're so quiet." My fork froze. The room felt too warm, too close. "Nothing, Mom, just tired." She reached across the table, patted my hand. "You work too hard. You need to slow down. Family first. Always." Family first. The phrase I'd heard my whole life, the one that kept me close, kept me good, kept me silent. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and splashed cold water on my face. Stared at my reflection, pale, eyes hollow. How much longer could I do this? The 4th envelope came the next morning. I found it tucked under the windshield of my car when I went to drive Sophia to school. I waited until I'd dropped her off, kissed her curly head, watched her skip into class, before opening it in the parking lot. Inside, a single sheet of paper with a date, time, and location. Saturday, 2 p.m., Water Place Park by the Tide Clock. Below it, "Come alone, or the next package goes to your parents, your husband, and your school." My hands went numb. Saturday was 3 days away. Someone wasn't content with reminders anymore. They wanted to meet, and I had no choice. The weight of silence was crushing me, and it was about to break.
The days leading up to Saturday dragged and raced at the same time. Every morning I woke up with a knot in my stomach, checking the doors, the windows, the mailbox like someone might be watching. I barely ate, lost 5 pounds in a week without trying. Alex kept asking what was wrong, his eyes full of worry every time he looked at me. "You're scaring me, Mia. Please talk to me." I wanted to. God, I wanted to hand him the envelopes, let him hold me while I fell apart, but fear kept my mouth shut. What if telling him destroyed us? What if he looked at me differently, saw the scared 19-year-old who'd made an impossible choice instead of the woman he married? So I lied. Again. "It's just hormones and work stress. I'll be fine." He didn't buy it completely, but he let it go. For now. Saturday finally arrived. Crisp fall day, leaves turning red and gold along the Woonasquatucket River. Water Place Park was one of my favorite spots in Providence. The tide clock, the gondolas in summer, the brick walkways perfect for strolling with the kids. But today it felt ominous. I dropped Sophia and Mateo at my parents' with excuses about errands and a work meeting. Mom hugged them tight, shooting me concerned looks. "You sure you're okay, Mia? You look pale." "I'm good, Ma. Just a busy day." I drove downtown with the windows down, trying to breathe. Parked near the park and walked the last few blocks, coat pulled tight against the wind off the water. The tide clock loomed ahead, big bronze sculpture marking high and low tides. 1:55 p.m. I sat on a bench facing the river, clutching a paper cup of coffee I'd bought just to have something in my hands. People milled around, families feeding ducks, couples taking selfies, joggers with earbuds. Normal Saturday. I scanned every face, heart pounding. Who was it? A former classmate? Someone from the clinic? Tyler himself? 2 p.m. came and went. I checked my phone, no messages. Started second-guessing. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe they wouldn't show. Then a voice behind me. Soft. Female.
Mia. I turned. She was older, mid-50s maybe, graying brown hair pulled into a neat bun, wire-rimmed glasses, wearing a simple navy coat and sensible shoes. Face lined but kind-looking, familiar in a way I couldn't place, like someone you've seen in passing 100 times. "Do I know you?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. She sat on the bench beside me, not too close, leaving a respectful distance. "You don't remember me. That's okay. I was one of the nurses at the clinic, that day, 15 years ago." My blood turned to ice. I stared at her, mouth open. She nodded slowly. "I thought you might not recognize me. I looked different then. No glasses, shorter hair. My name's Ellen, Ellen Harper." The name clicked. She'd been the intake nurse, kind eyes, gentle voice, asking questions while I filled out forms with shaking hands. "Why?" I managed. "Why are you doing this? The envelopes, the threats." She looked out at the river, hands folded in her lap. "I'm dying, Mia. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. 6 months, maybe less. The doctors say I'm lucky to have that long." I swallowed hard. "I'm sorry." "Thank you." She turned to me, eyes soft but intense. "I've been a nurse for 35 years, worked in women's health most of that time. Seen thousands of girls like you, scared, alone, carrying the weight of decisions no one should have to make young. But you stayed with me." I wrapped my arms around myself. "Why me?" "Because of what you said after, in recovery. You were crying, whispering over and over, 'They'll never forgive me. My family, they'll never understand.' I held your hand while you fell asleep from the anesthesia, and I never forgot you." Tears pricked my eyes. She continued, "I retired last year, started going through old things, found some records, nothing official, just personal notes I'd kept over the years, names that stuck with me. Yours was one. Then I looked you up. Social media, your wedding announcement, your parents' Facebook. They post about you all the time. Their perfect daughter, the good Italian girl who does everything right." I flinched. "You have a beautiful life," she said quietly. "Husband, kids, family that loves you, but I see the weight you carry, the guilt, the silence. I've watched girls like you live half lives because they're terrified of the truth. So you decided to terrorize me, blackmail me into confessing?" She winced. "It started as a nudge, the first photo, just to remind you. Then it escalated. I thought if I pushed hard enough, you'd free yourself. Tell them, live honestly, before it's too late, like it is for me." I laughed bitterly. "You think destroying my family is freedom? I think carrying this alone is destroying you slowly." She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small flash drive, held it out. "Everything I have, photos I took that day, waiting room, exterior, the records copy, emails I found through old accounts. It's all here, and backups. If you don't tell them, your parents, your husband, I will. 1 month, Mia. Then I send it all." I stared at the drive like it was poison. "Why give me a choice?" I whispered. "Because you deserve one, unlike so many others." She placed it in my hand, closed my fingers around it. "I'm sorry for the fear, truly, but sometimes truth needs a push." She stood. "Wait," I said, "how did you even find all this?" A sad smile. "I've had time and resources, old colleagues, public records. You'd be surprised what people keep." Then she walked away, slow, steady steps down the path, blending into the crowd. I sat there until the sun dipped low, flash drive burning a hole in my pocket. 1 month. Tell them, or lose everything. The stranger wasn't a monster. She was a dying woman trying to save me, but her way might destroy me first.
The flash drive Ellen handed me felt heavier than it should have, like it carried the weight of 15 years in a tiny piece of plastic. I sat on that park bench long after she walked away, watching the river flow under the bridges, gondolas empty now that summer was over. The fall wind picked up, scattering leaves across the path, and still I couldn't move. 1 month. Tell them, or she would. I drove home in a fog, the drive a blur of red lights and honking horns I barely registered. Alex was in the backyard raking leaves with the kids, Sophia jumping in piles, Mateo trying to help with his little plastic rake. Normal. Perfect. The kind of Saturday afternoon we lived for. "Daddy, look at Mommy," Sophia yelled, waving a handful of leaves. Alex looked up, smiling, that easy, loving smile that always made everything better. "Hey, babe, how was your meeting?" I forced my legs to move, walked over and kissed him. "Fine, just long." He studied my face. "You okay? You look like you've been crying." "Allergies," I lied, ruffling Mateo's hair. "Fall pollen." He didn't push, not then. But that night, after the kids were asleep, Sophia clutching her stuffed unicorn, Mateo surrounded by plastic dinosaurs, I couldn't hold it together. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the flash drive, turning it over and over in my hands. Alex found me there at midnight, glass of water untouched beside me. "Mia," he pulled a chair close, took my hands. "Enough. You're scaring me. Whatever it is, work, us, something else, tell me. We're a team." Tears started then, silent at first, then sobs that shook my whole body. He held me, rubbing my back like he did when the kids had nightmares. "I'm here," he whispered, "whatever it is." So I told him. Everything. The words tumbled out in a rush. 19-year-old me, Tyler, the pregnancy, the clinic, the decision, the lies, the envelopes, Ellen, the flash drive, the 1-month ultimatum. When I finished, the kitchen was silent except for the clock ticking on the wall. Alex didn't speak for a long time. He just held me while I cried into his shirt. Finally, he pulled back, cupped my face in his hands. "I'm so sorry," he said, voice thick. "So sorry you went through that alone, that you carried this by yourself all these years." "You're not mad?" I whispered. "Mad? That you were 19 and terrified? That you thought you had no one to turn to because your parents made you feel like any mistake would destroy everything? No, Mia, I'm not mad at you." Relief crashed over me so hard, I started crying again. "I'm mad at the situation," he continued, "at whatever made you feel like you couldn't come to anyone. And yeah, a little hurt you didn't trust me enough to tell me before we got married. But I get it. Guilt's a hell of a thing. I was ashamed, scared you'd see me differently." He kissed my forehead. "You're the strongest person I know. Making that choice alone, that took guts. And you've been an incredible wife, mother, partner. This doesn't change that." We sat up half the night talking, really talking, about fear, about guilt, about how my parents' love had always come with strings I hadn't seen until they were choking me. "What do we do about Ellen?" he asked finally. "I don't know. If I tell my parents, it'll destroy them. Mom's so devout. She lights candles for everything. Dad, he'd see it as the ultimate betrayal." Alex was quiet. Then, "But if you don't tell them, she will, on her terms, with all the evidence. That'll be worse." He was right. "We tell them," he said firmly, "together, on our terms, before the month is up. Your parents love you, Mia. They'll come around. They'll be hurt, shocked, but they're not monsters. They'll come around. And if they don't, then we deal with it. As a family. You, me, the kids. We're enough." For the first time in weeks, I slept, curled against Alex, his arm heavy around my waist. The next few days were a whirlwind. I couldn't focus at work, counseling kids while my own life imploded. Snapped at Sophia for spilling juice, yelled at Mateo for throwing a toy, felt like the worst mother alive. Alex took over. Bath times, bedtimes, packing lunches. He held me when I cried, reminded me we were in this together. Sunday dinner loomed again. I almost canceled, told Mom we had a stomach bug going around, but Alex shook his head. "No more hiding," he said. "We do this now, before she does." So we went.
The house smelled of sauce and garlic bread. My brothers were there, Nico with his loud laugh, Luca teasing the kids. Mom hugged me tight at the door. "You look better this week, Kara, more rested." If only she knew. Dinner was torture. I picked at my food, heart racing every time someone asked me a question. After dessert, Mom's famous tiramisu, Alex squeezed my hand under the table. "It's time," he whispered. I cleared my throat. "Mom, Dad, Nico, Luca, can we talk in the living room?" They exchanged confused looks, but followed. The kids stayed in the kitchen with Gina and Valentina, coloring. We sat, me and Alex on the couch, my parents in their usual chairs, brothers on the ottomans. "There's something I need to tell you," I started, voice shaking. "Something from a long time ago, before Alex, before any of this." Mom leaned forward, worry creasing her face. "What is it, Mia?" I took a deep breath and told them everything. The secret I'd carried for 15 years spilled out, tears, sobs, details I'd never said aloud. When I finished, the room was dead silent, except for the clock ticking on the wall. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Dad's face went ashen. "You had an abortion?" Mom whispered, crossing herself. "Our grandchild?" The word hit like a knife. Alex took my hand. She was 19, terrified, thought she had no options. Dad stood slowly. "You lied, all these years, to us, to God." "I was scared," I cried. "You always said family first, no mistakes. I thought you'd hate me." Mom started sobbing. "How could you?" Nico and Luca just stared, shocked, angry. Dad pointed at the door. "Leave. I need time." We left. The drive home was silent, except for my crying. The breaking point wasn't Ellen's threat, it was this. My family shattered, and I had no idea if they'd ever forgive me.
The drive home from my parents' house that Sunday was the longest 20 minutes of my life. Alex drove, one hand on the wheel, the other gripping mine so tight it hurt. The kids were quiet in the back, Sophia staring out the window, Mateo half asleep with his dinosaur clutched to his chest. No one spoke. The radio stayed off. Providence blurred past, familiar streets, holiday lights already twinkling in windows, even though Thanksgiving was weeks away. I kept replaying the scene in my head. Mom's face crumpling when I said the word abortion. Dad's voice, quiet, deadly quiet, telling us to leave. My brother's shocked stares, the way the air had sucked out of the room like a vacuum. We pulled into our driveway and Alex cut the engine. "You okay?" he asked softly. "No," I whispered. Tears started again, silent, endless. He unbuckled, turned to the kids. "Hey guys, go inside and pick a movie. Mommy and Daddy need a minute." Sophia hesitated. "Is Nona mad at you, Mommy?" My heart shattered. "She's upset. Grown-up stuff, but it'll be okay." They went inside, the door closed behind them. Alex pulled me into his arms across the console. "We did the right thing, telling them on our terms. It's out now." "But they hate me," I sobbed into his shoulder. "They're hurt, shocked. Give them time." Time. The one thing Ellen had said I didn't have much of. We went inside, put on a movie for the kids, Frozen, Sophia's favorite, tucked them in early with extra hugs and promises that everything would be fine. Then we sat at the kitchen table, flash drive between us like evidence. "What now?" I asked. "Now we wait," Alex said. "They need to process, and we protect ourselves. I'm calling a lawyer tomorrow, just in case Ellen follows through." I nodded numbly. That night, I couldn't sleep, lay staring at the ceiling while Alex breathed steadily beside me. My phone stayed silent. No texts from Mom, Dad, my brothers, nothing. Monday was hell. Called in sick to work again. Alex took the kids to school, handled drop-off and pick-up. I wandered the house like a ghost, folding laundry that didn't need folding, staring at old photo albums full of smiling family pictures that now felt like lies. Mom usually called every morning, checking in, asking about the kids, reminding me about some family thing. Silence.
By Wednesday, the guilt was eating me alive. Not just the old guilt, the new kind. Had I destroyed everything? My parents' faith? Their image of me as the good daughter? Alex came home early, found me crying on the couch. "Enough," he said, gently but firmly. "We're not waiting for them to come to us. We're going to therapy. Tonight, I found a counselor who specializes in family issues." We went, a small office in Federal Hill, Italian neighborhood, ironically. The therapist, Dr. Rossi, no relation, was kind but direct. "You told the truth," she said after hearing everything. "That's brave. Now the hard part, healing the rupture." She gave us homework. Write letters to my parents, not to send yet, just to get feelings out. I wrote mine that night. "Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry for the lie, for the pain, for not trusting you enough to tell you when I was 19. I was terrified of disappointing you, of being the bad daughter. You raised me to believe family was everything and mistakes weren't allowed. I made the hardest choice of my life alone because I thought you'd never forgive me. I was wrong. I hope someday you can forgive me. Love, Mia." Alex read it, kissed my forehead. Beautiful. He wrote his own, supporting me, reminding them we're a family too. Thursday, Mom called. I stared at the phone, Rosa calling, heart in my throat. Answered on the fourth ring. "Mia?" "Ma." Silence. Then, "Come over, tomorrow. Alone." No warmth, but it was something. I went Friday afternoon. Alex stayed with the kids. The house smelled like coffee and lemon cleaner, Mom's stress cleaning scent. Dad was in his recliner, newspaper folded but unread. Mom at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug. They didn't hug me. We sat. Dad spoke first. "We've been to church every day, talking to Father Anthony, praying." Mom's eyes were red. "How could you, Mia? A life, our grandchild." Tears filled my eyes. I was 19, scared, alone. I thought it was the only way. Dad's voice broke. "You could have come to us. Would you have understood? Or made me keep it? Marry someone I didn't love? Give up college?" Mom looked away. "We would have helped you," Dad said. "Supported you. Any choice." "Maybe," I said. "But I didn't know that then. All I knew was guilt for everything. Wanting my own life, making mistakes." Silence stretched. Then Mom, "This woman, the one sending things, she's forcing you? She gave me a month to tell you, or she would." Dad's face hardened. "She has no right." "She's dying," I said quietly. "Thinks she's saving me from a lifetime of secrets." Mom crossed herself. "We're hurt," Dad said finally. "Deeply, but you're our daughter. We love you." Mom reached for my hand, hesitant, then tight. "We need time to understand, to forgive." Tears rolled down my face. "I'm so sorry." "We know," Mom whispered. "It wasn't fixed, not even close, but it was a start." That night, I told Alex everything. "We're going to be okay," he said, holding me close. For the first time in weeks, I believed him. The confession had broken us open, but maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning of healing.
The weeks after telling my parents were a slow, painful unraveling. Mom's call had been a start, a crack in the door, but the house felt colder now. No more daily check-ins, no invitations to Sunday dinner. My brothers texted happy birthdays to the kids, but nothing to me. The silence was louder than any fight we'd ever had. Alex became my anchor. He handled everything. School runs, grocery shopping, bedtime stories when I couldn't stop crying. He'd find me curled up on the couch staring at nothing and just hold me. No pressure, no fixing it, just there. "We gave them the truth," he'd remind me gently. "The ball's in their court now." But waiting was torture. I threw myself into work, extra hours counseling kids who had their own messes. It helped a little, reminded me I wasn't the only one carrying secrets. One girl, 17 and pregnant, sat in my office sobbing about disappointing her strict parents. I held her hand and told her she wasn't alone. Meant it more than she'd ever know. Ellen's deadline loomed, 1 month from the park meeting.
3 weeks in, nothing from her. No more envelopes. Part of me hoped she'd changed her mind, let it go. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Mia? It's Ellen Harper. My stomach dropped. I told them, my husband, my parents, everyone. It's out. Silence on the line. Good, she said finally, voice weaker than at the park. I'm glad. I've been thinking about what I did, the fear I caused. I gripped the phone. Why call now? I'm in hospice, she said quietly. Not much time left. My daughter, she found everything, the files, the backups. She's angry at me, said what I did was cruel. I swallowed hard. I'm destroying it all, Ellen continued. The drive, the copies. It's over, Mia. I'm sorry, truly. I thought I was helping, forcing you to live free, but I see now I was wrong. Pain isn't the only path to truth. Tears filled my eyes. Thank you. No, she said. Thank you for forgiving enough to tell me. Live well, Mia. You deserve it. She hung up. I sat there crying, relief, grief, everything mixing together. Alex came home early, found me on the kitchen floor. It's over, I told him through sobs. She's destroying everything, dying. Said she's sorry. He held me while I cried it out. The real reckoning came with my parents. Dad called 2 days later. Come over, he said gruffly. We need to talk, all of us. My heart raced as Alex and I drove over. No kids this time. Mom had asked we come alone. The house looked the same. Plastic on the furniture, saints on the walls, smell of coffee brewing. But the air was heavy. Mom and Dad sat at the kitchen table. Dad's hands wrapped around a mug, Mom's eyes red-rimmed. We sat across from them. Dad spoke first. We've been to see Father Anthony 3 times. Talked, prayed, a lot. Mom nodded, dabbing her eyes with the tissue. We were wrong, Dad said, rough. Not about our beliefs, but about how we raised you, made you feel like any mistake would make us stop loving you. Mom reached for my hand, hesitant at first, then tight. You were a child, Mia, 19, scared. We should have been the safe place, not the reason you hid. Tears streamed down my face. We're hurt, Dad continued, about the baby, that we never knew, but more hurt that you thought you couldn't tell us, that our love came with conditions. I was so afraid, I whispered, of disappointing you, of not being the good daughter. Mom pulled me into a hug, fierce, flour-dusted apron and all. You are good, always. Mistakes don't change that. Dad stood, came around the table, wrapped his arms around both of us. Alex joined, big family hug like when I was little. We love you, Dad said into my hair, no matter what. And Alex, the kids, you're our family. We cried, all of us. Later, over coffee and biscotti, we talked, really talked, about their own struggles, Mom's miscarriage before me they'd never shared, Dad's regrets from his own youth in Italy. We wanted better for you, said Mom, but we forgot better includes being human. Dad nodded. No more guilt, Mia, from us. You live your life, make your choices. We're here, always. It wasn't perfect. Healing takes time, but the chains, the invisible ones, started to loosen. Ellen died a week later. Her daughter emailed, found my contact in her mother's things. She passed peacefully, she wrote, regretted how she handled things with you, said telling you sorry was one of her last clear thoughts. Thank you for giving her peace. I cried reading it, forgave her fully. Life shifted after that. My parents started therapy, family sessions with Dr. Rossi, learning to let go, to love without conditions. I took the Seattle job, told my parents over dinner, this time with excitement, not fear. They cried, but then Mom smiled. If it makes you happy, Kara, go. We'll visit, Skype every day. Dad hugged me tight. Be brave. We're proud. The reckoning wasn't destruction. It was rebirth. Painful, raw, necessary. And it set me free.
The reckoning with my parents didn't fix everything overnight. It was more like the first real breath after being underwater too long, gasping, overwhelming but necessary. After that tear-soaked talk in their kitchen, we didn't hug it out and pretend the pain never happened. There were still awkward silences, still moments where Mom would start to say something and stop, eyes filling with tears. Dad would get quiet, staring into his coffee like it held answers. But they showed up. The next Sunday, Mom called. Dinner, 6 o'clock, bring the bambini. No questions, no conditions. We went. The house smelled like it always did. Garlic, tomatoes simmering for hours, fresh bread baking. My brothers were there. Nico with his usual loud energy, Luca quieter than normal. The kids ran wild with their cousins, shrieking through the backyard. It felt almost normal, until we sat down to eat. Mom passed the pasta, hands trembling slightly. Dad said grace, longer than usual, voice thick. After the plates were filled, Dad cleared his throat. "We've been talking," he said, looking around the table. "Your mother and I, with Father Anthony, and a counselor." I froze, fork halfway to my mouth. Mom nodded. "Family therapy, for us, to understand better." Nico raised an eyebrow. "You're seeing a shrink, Pop?" Dad shot him a look, but softened. "Yes, and it's helping. We raised you kids with love, but maybe too much expectation. Made you feel like mistakes weren't allowed." Luca set his fork down. "We were all shocked, Mia, hurt. But you're our sister. We love you." Tears pricked my eyes. Alex squeezed my knee under the table. "I'm sorry," I said again, "for the lie, for the pain." Mom reached across, took my hand. "We're sorry, too, for making you carry it alone." Dinner after that was healing. Quiet stories, laughter with the kids. No one tiptoed around it completely. Dad asked gentle questions about that time in my life, how scared I'd been. Mom cried a little when I talked about driving to the clinic alone. But it was real, honest. Therapy became regular. For my parents, for Alex and me, even a few family sessions with Dr. Rossi. We unpacked years of patterns. Mom's fear of losing us like she'd lost her own mother young. Dad's immigrant drive to give us better than he had, turning into pressure without meaning to. "I never wanted you perfect," Dad said in one session. "Just safe, happy." I know, but safe felt like a cage sometimes. They listened. Really listened. Ellen's daughter emailed again a month after her death. She found a letter Mom wrote to you. She wanted you to have it. I opened it with shaking hands. "Dear Mia, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry for the way I pushed, the fear I caused. In my last days, I realized forcing truth isn't the same as earning it. You were braver than I gave you credit for, carrying your secret with grace. Live free now, without guilt. Forgive me, and forgive yourself. Ellen." I cried reading it, showed it to Alex, then to my parents in our next family session. Mom held the letter like it was fragile. She was wrong in how she did it, but maybe she was right about one thing. Secrets hurt. We forgave her, together. Life started shifting. I took the Seattle job, officially accepted after a second offer came through with even better terms. Told my parents over coffee one morning, just the four of us. "Seattle?" Mom said, eyes wide. "I know." I read for her hand. Dad was quiet a moment. Then, "Good money? Good schools?" "Yes." Mom's eyes filled. "Far." "I know." I reached for her hand. "But we'll visit. You'll visit us. It's not goodbye." Dad nodded slowly. "You're grown, Mia, with your own family. If this makes you happy, go." Mom cried, but then she smiled, real, through tears. "We'll come see the rain and those big trees." No guilt trip, no sighs about sacrifices, just love. My brothers were supportive. Nico helped research neighborhoods. Luca joked about visiting for the coffee. We moved in January.
Sold the duplex, packed boxes with the kids' help. Sophia labeled everything in her careful 6-year-old handwriting. The flight west was bittersweet. Kids excited about the plane, me crying quietly as Rhode Island disappeared below. Seattle welcomed us with drizzle and evergreens. Our new house had a view of the Sound, a backyard big enough for Mateo's dinosaur digs. Alex found work at a sports rehab clinic. I started at Evergreen Academy. Dream come true. The kids adjusted fast. Sophia made friends at dance, Luca obsessed with the ferry boats. My parents visited in April. Mom brought frozen sauce and ravioli in her suitcase. You can't get good Italian out here. Dad marveled at the mountains, took millions of photos. We hiked, ate seafood, laughed until late. One night on the deck, watching the sunset over the water, Mom took my hand. "We're proud of you, Mia, for being brave, for telling the truth, for building this life." Dad nodded beside her. "You're a good mother, a good daughter, always were." Tears came, happy ones. Healing wasn't linear. There were still hard days, anniversaries of that October, moments of doubt, but therapy helped. Open talks helped. The truth didn't destroy us. It healed us, deeper, stronger, without the weight of silence.
Moving to Seattle turned out to be the best decision we ever made. One of those leaps that feels terrifying in the moment, but lands you exactly where you need to be. We've been here 8 months now, settled into a cute craftsman house in the Ravenna neighborhood, big windows, hardwood floors, a backyard with a maple tree that explodes red in the fall. The kids love it. Sophia's room painted lavender with space for all her dance trophies. Mateo's filled with dinosaur posters and a bed shaped like a Jeep. Alex commutes to his clinic in the University District, and I'm deep into my role as guidance director at Evergreen Academy, a sprawling campus with views of Lake Washington and kids who actually want to talk about their futures. The first few weeks were chaos, unpacking boxes while it rained sideways, Seattle's welcome gift. Sophia cried for her cousins, Mateo asked every day when we were going home to Rhode Island. Alex and I tag-teamed meltdowns, his calm patience balancing my anxious energy. But slowly it got better. New routines, new friends, new freedoms. Work is a dream. My office has a big window overlooking the soccer fields, and I lead a team of 3 counselors, collaborating on college prep workshops, mental health programs, even a mindfulness club the kids started. No one knows my history here, no expectations beyond doing my job well. I come home energized, not drained. Alex thrives too. His clinic specializes in sports rehab, working with marathon runners, climbers, even a few pro soccer players from the Sounders. He's home by 6 most nights, coaching Sophia's rec dance team on weekends, or building epic blanket forts with Mateo. We hike every chance we get: Discovery Park, Rattlesnake Ledge, even a family trip to Mount Rainier, where the kids saw snow for the first time in April. The air here feels different. Crisp, clean, full of possibility. No more suffocating Sunday obligations unless we want them. But we didn't cut ties. That was never the plan. My parents FaceTime every other day, Mom showing off her latest sauce batch, Dad asking Mateo about dinosaurs or Sophia about school. They visited in June, flew out for 2 weeks, stayed in our guest room. Mom brought frozen ravioli and homemade limoncello in her suitcase. TSA gave her side-eye, but it made it. Dad marveled at the Space Needle, grumbled about the coffee being too fancy, but drank 3 lattes a day anyway. We took them to Pike Place Market, watching the fish throwers, eating fresh donuts, hiked a gentle trail in the Olympics, Mom in her new REI sneakers she bought special. One night on the deck, watching ferries cross the Sound at sunset, Dad put his arm around me. "You're right," he said quietly. "This place, it suits you. You're glowing, Mia." Mom nodded, eyes misty. "We miss you, but we're proud. So proud. No guilt, no when are you coming home, just love." My brothers visit too. Nico brought his family last month. Luca's planning a guys' trip with Alex for craft beer tasting. We're connected, just not chained. Therapy continues. Virtual sessions with Dr. Rossi back in Providence every few weeks. My parents joined a few.
We talk openly now about boundaries, about how guilt was their love language gone wrong. Mom admitted she'd felt the same pressure from her own mother. Breaking the cycle wasn't easy. I thought if I held tighter, you'd be safer, she said in one session, but I almost lost you. Healing looks like small things. Mom sending care packages without the subtle, you should visit soon notes. Dad calling just to say he loves me, no agenda. Me calling them without bracing for disappointment. The kids are flourishing. Sophia's dance team won regionals. She FaceTimed Nana mid-celebration, twirling in her costume. Mateo started kindergarten, came home declaring he wants to be a volcano scientist because of Mount Rainier. They miss Rhode Island sometimes, ask about cousins, beg for Federal Hill cannoli, but they're happy, rooted here with visits east to keep the connections alive. Alex and I are stronger than ever. Date nights at waterfront restaurants, hikes where we talk about everything, no topic off limits. We even started dreaming bigger. Maybe a trip to Italy someday, show the kids where their great-grandparents came from, on our terms. One evening last week, we sat on the deck after the kids were asleep. Blankets, wine, city lights twinkling across the water. "You okay?" Alex asked, pulling me close. I thought about it. Really thought. The guilt that used to wake me at 3 a.m.? Gone. The constant second-guessing, the fear of disappointing everyone? Faded. "I'm good," I said, and meant it. Really good. He kissed my temple. We broke free. We did. Not from family, from the version of love that hurt, from the guilt that controlled me. Ellen was right about forcing truth with threats, but she was right that silence was killing me slowly. The truth healed us, set us free, to love without chains, to live fully. Here. Now. Whole.
It's been 2 years since we packed up our life in Providence and landed in Seattle, and honestly, I barely recognize the woman I used to be. I'm still Mia Costello, 35 now, mom to Sophia, 8 going on 18, and Mateo, 6 and convinced he's part dinosaur, still married to Alex, who's still the steady, kind, incredible partner I don't deserve some days. But everything else? It's like I've stepped out of a shadow I didn't even know was there. Our house in Ravenna feels like home now. The maple tree in the backyard drops leaves every fall that the kids rake into massive piles for jumping. We've got a routine: school drop-offs with coffee in hand, work days that energize instead of drain, evenings hiking or at the playground watching fairies cross the sound. The rain doesn't bother us anymore. We invested in good jackets and learned to love the way the city smells after a storm: clean, green, alive. Work at Evergreen Academy is everything I dreamed of and more. I lead a team of 5 counselors now, rolled out a peer mentoring program that's getting national attention, even started a parent workshop series on supporting teens through anxiety. My office has plants, I finally kept some alive, and photos of the kids on the wall. Sophia mid-pirouette, Mateo holding a massive fern leaf like it's treasure. Colleagues invite me to happy hours, book clubs, weekend hikes. No one here knows the old Mia, the one who lived in fear of disappointing her family. I'm just Mia, competent, funny, respected. The kids are thriving in ways I never imagined. Sophia's on a competitive dance team, travels to Portland for competitions, came home with a trophy taller than Mateo last spring. She's confident, outspoken, the kid who raises her hand first. Mateo's in first grade, reading chapter books about volcanoes and paleontology. He's got friends who come over for dinosaur digs in the backyard, burying plastic bones and excavating them with paintbrushes. They both miss Rhode Island sometimes, ask for real cannoli or Nona's ravioli, but they love it here. The mountains, the fairies, the science museum with the butterfly garden. Alex and I, we're better than ever. Date nights are sacred: fancy seafood on the waterfront or takeout pho and board games after the kids crash. We talk about everything now: dreams, fears, even the hard stuff from before. Therapy's still part of our life, monthly check-ins with a counselor here, plus occasional virtual family sessions back east. He started rock climbing with a group from work. I joined a book club that's mostly an excuse to drink wine and gossip. We laugh more, touch more, feel like partners, not just co-parents surviving the week. My parents are different.
Better. They visit twice a year now, spring and fall, stay for a week or two. Mom brings frozen sauce and Dad's tools just in case. They explore Pike Place, the Olympic Peninsula, even a whale watching tour where Mom screamed when an orca breached. They FaceTime weekly, no more subtle guilt about how often we call. Mom joined an online support group for Catholic parents processing reproductive choices. Dad reads books I recommend about emotional intelligence. Last visit, we hiked to a waterfall in the Cascades. Halfway up, Mom stopped, out of breath but smiling. "This is good, Mia," she said. "You're happy. Really happy." "I am, Ma." Dad nodded, arm around her. "We see it, and we're proud. Not just of the job, the kids, of you, for being brave enough to choose this." No tears that time, just hugs, and later homemade limoncello on the deck. My brothers are uncles in the best way, send ridiculous care packages, Red Sox gear for the kids, even though they're Mariners fans now. Nico's family came out last summer. We did a big beach trip to the San Juans. Luca got engaged, video called us from Federal Hill to share the news. We go back east once a year, Christmas in Providence, full immersion. 7 fishes, midnight mass, too much food. The kids love showing off Nona and Nono to their Seattle friends via photos. I think about Ellen sometimes, the nurse who terrified me into truth. Her methods were wrong, cruel even, but her intention, I get it now. She saw a woman trapped by her own silence and tried to free her. Poorly, desperately. In the end, she gave me the push I needed. I've forgiven her long ago. And myself? That took longer. But I have. I'm not the good daughter anymore, not in the old way. I'm Mia. Whole, flawed, free. Guilt doesn't wake me at night. Love does. And it's the kind without strings, the kind that lets me breathe. Here, under evergreens and endless sky, I'm finally fully me. The new me. And I love her.